Hello, how's everybody doing? I apologize for a little delay. Actually, it was on my fault, my end. Still having issues, trouble with internet, but you know how that is going live, doing different things, streaming, doing everything, live. You're going to have some technical difficulties. Well, sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. So I don't know if you guys can see me, hear me or not. Hopefully the audio was good. Hopefully everything's going through pretty good. But right now I have Gary Gray on with me. And I guess the first time I actually came into contact was with him, or I actually saw him, was on Alex Shalinsky's page. And actually, Alex was interviewing him. And actually, just to give you a little background about Alex, he's an agency owner and everything like that. He has a program, and he's just a big time guy. And then I noticed that he was interviewing Gary. I was like, Gary's got to be big time. So then I started, listening to the interview, and I was like, man, this guy really knows his stuff. But then I really started listening to it, and I understood his story because he was actually telling story about how he got started and how in the beginning, he was actually, because what he does is he's actually an agency owner. So he helps people with, actually helps realtors with their digital marketing, helps them set everything up online. So in the beginning, he was doing a lot of outreaches and everything, and he came through, actually something, stuck with me, as far as with his story and everything, because when he was telling his story, he actually mentioned that, how it was hard for him in the beginning to actually get started, to set up appointments and to book everything like that. And I was like, wait a minute, because a lot of these experts and these gurus are not telling that. It's like, hey, just make a couple of cold calls every day, or send a couple of cold messages and everything like that, and everything will be fine and okay. But I'll let him let you get into a story. Then another thing that actually intrigued me was the fact that he is young. I mean, he's like 20 years younger than me. So and these young guys, and um, or actually they're doing a lot of things that I wasn't necessarily doing, at their age. I didn't have a business set up or anything like that. Really wasn't focused on business. I was focusing on pretty much being an employee. And then the reason why I entitled this, as far as you can actually, no matter what age it is you are at, you can actually start and run your own business. And I want him to get into that. Gary, just go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background, your story, and everything like that.
Yeah, man. So I got into marketing because I originally seen Ty Lopez's his Lamborghini in the garage. Oh no, I lost Mike. Mike, are you still here? Oh no. Ooh. Oh, Mike, you're
Yes,
back.
yeah, I'm still here, so I'm going to drop out, and then you can actually go ahead
Oh,
and tell.
I had no clue how this thing even. I'm so used to Zoom, but yeah. So I'd seen Ty Lopez's Lamborghini in the garage ad. It got me really interested in because he had said, do not be a salary slave and the whole 9 yards, and I was like, huh, you can do stuff without working for someone else. That's crazy. So I'd seen that my freshman year of high school, and yeah, I watched it. I didn't buy 67 Steps program, but it got me really into it. And then from there, I just kind of went about my life, but I didn't want to. I wanted to run a business by that point. I didn't want to. I didn't want to take directions from someone who I felt like couldn't give me directions, or I felt like didn't actually know what the hell they were talking about, and all that kind of good stuff. So I remember I saw another Ty Lopez ad. I was working at Best Buy at the time. It was either Best Buy or Home Depot, and he was talking about how you could get small businesses to pay you $1,000 to $10,000 a month for managing their social media, which blew my mind. I was like, what? What business would pay you $1,000 a month, and all that kind of stuff? So I was like, get a little on $10,000. Like, what in the world? So I learned more about social media marketing. Bought a $25 course off of a site called Udemy. I started making cold calls. I would make 300 cold calls a day. I started doing them when I was, I think I just turned 18 when I started my business. And I'm 20 now, so a little bit of perspective there. But I used to make 300 cold calls a day. I would get told no, go away, fuck off, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, then eventually my first paying client. Well, I worked with two chiropractors for free. I hated it, and then my first paying client was a realtor, and that got me really inspired to work with realtors. And then my mom actually sold our house that I grew up in, and our realtor was phenomenal. I love that woman to death. And I was like, why not get in here and find more agents like them who I can genuinely help grow their business. So I was broke. I was really, really broke. I got kicked out. My mom's I moved from Virginia to Florida with what was it, like $500 to my name, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. We have car insurance and health insurance and groceries and gas and all that kind of shit to pay for. I couch surf for a little bit. I never bought any like spent a lot of money on a course or a program, so I eventually caved, bought $1,000 course, and within a week of taking that course, I had already made $3,000. So I was like, okay, there's something to this. I'm not going to be broke forever, because my first year in business, I made $5,400. God awful. But now, now we're at the point where I'm at 10K plus a month, and that's lots of fun. It's definitely lots of fun, and it's a nice journey to go through. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Mike, if you can come back on here, because like I said, I don't know how to use this shit. Okay, there we go.
Hold on. Yeah. Kind of a delay there, but let me ask you this. So as far as the class that you took, you say you bought a class for like what, $1,000. So what class was it? Because did you actually buy Ty's program, or you just looked at his ad?
No, I saw his ad. That just got me into the concept of it. But the course I bought, it's from two great guys, Shane Hillier and Matt Kramer, and it's a real estate marketing specific course. It's the real estate. They changed the name, Real Estate Marketing Academy Pro or something like that. That's total plug, by the way. Please buy their stuff, because they're phenomenal teachers, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, dude, I went and bought that course. My wallet's away from me right now, but I had that same Discover credit card. I went and got approved for a Discover card for a $1,500 limit. The moment I activated that thing, I bought that program, because I had one client for $500 a month, and I had, I think, $50 to my name, and I was like, this is not good, because I have bills to pay. So I went in from zero to crunch mode, and I'm sorry, what did you say, Mike?
Oh, I said, yeah, that's good. That's a good story. Because I mean, a lot of people, they go out and they buy all these courses and everything, and they do not get results. And that's the thing. I was talking with Andrew Cruzy about in my last interview. He was saying that pretty much that's something that he is good at, is actually getting results. And that's a lot of things that I guess a lot of a lot of people, they really don't focus on results. They just focus on selling courses, selling programs, and everything like that.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then I want to actually talk about, because actually before we hopped on here, you really didn't even know what time it was. It's already noon, and I was like, it's lunchtime. And I want to, I guess, attest to that, just as far as the reason why you really didn't know what time it was, because you told me that you have been making, I guess, sending messages out, talking to, realtors and everything like that. So just the point is, once you get to a certain level in your business, you might have a goal of, maybe making six figures or even higher than that. But I mean, once you accomplish your goal, you still have to work. So, I mean, what is your motivation for continuing to just work as hard as you are? Because I mean, you're still young. I mean, you've actually already achieved something that, a lot of people, even my age or even older than me, as far as, you've achieved something that they've never achieved in their life at such a young age. So, I mean, obviously the sky's the limit for you and for them. It's never too late. But I mean, just the fact of you just being so young, because you actually told me like some of the things you like to do is, you like to play video games, like, just a young kid, and like to,
Oh yeah,
smoke the guy and all that stuff. So I mean, how do you stay focused and motivated?
Focus. I go to a co-working space, because right now I can't work. I mean, I'm working from home today just because I had this coming up, and I was like, I got to do laundry and whatever. I got to do adulting. But as soon as that laundry's done, I hear it in the dryer right now, I'm going to the office, and then yeah, I mean, it's a lot of things that I guess motivate me. I will say having those slumps. A lot of people demonize that, but it's probably one of the best things that can happen to you. It's one of the worst things that happens. But I just got out of a slump. I was in a freaking terrible slump for like a month. September, we had to purge some clients, and then we got purged by some clients, and prospects were falling off the radar and disappearing days before they were supposed to have payments due, and all the whole 9 yards. I keep saying 9 yards a lot. I guess it's my thing for the day. But we had that happen. I think we lost like $9,000 worth of revenue. Like it nailed me, bro. Because I was like, and it was in the span of like 2 weeks. It was back-to-back losses. Actually, yeah, I don't think we lost any clients because we're pretty fucking good, but we just had to fire a good amount of them. And most of it came from just like prospects that just fell off, and people who were like, "Oh, coincidentally, I don't want to spend money anymore." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks, I appreciate it." But yeah, man, it nailed me, and it got me really depressed. And I was like, "Dude, holy shit! I was just at 15 grand. Like how am I losing all this?" And I sat there and I definitely cried my eyes out, cried myself to sleep sometimes. I wasn't motivated to work at all. But I would say one of my biggest motivations is having a virtual assistant. I have a really, really phenomenal virtual assistant on my team. I love him to death. And when I want to be lazy, I'm like, dude, this guy, first of all, this guy is getting paid regardless of whatever the fuck I'm doing. So he needs to get paid. And second of all, for all the leads that I close from him sending out emails, Facebook messages, Instagram messages, whatever it is that he's doing, I give him a bonus of $100. And last month, I was able to give him 2 bonuses because 2 of our email leads closed because he does primarily emails. And those leads are really hard to work. So I was honestly very pleasantly surprised that they closed because it's a lot. Email leads are just so cold. They're on the same level as cold calling to me. And like I have systems in place to warm them up, and some of them still are not warmed up by the time we get on the phone. I'm like, Jesus, man. But yeah, that's definitely motivation for me, just because I have someone else besides myself to take care of. I also have rent to pay. I have car insurance, health insurance, groceries, meal prep, coaching programs. Like I spend a lot of money on shit, so I need to keep making money so I can afford to do that. I just found a new pants brand. I'm sorry.
You found a new what?
But I was saying I found a new pants brand that I've been telling all my guy friends about it. So here you go, Mike. Here's a secret, bro. The brand is called Roan. They're lemon, right? So it's expensive as shit. It's like $100 for a pair of pants. Best pants I've ever worn in my life, though. By far the best part of clothing. Yeah, dude, I have them. Yeah, they're in a basket behind me because I put my laundry away. But best pants I've ever worn in my life.
What's the brand? What's the brand of jeans? What's the
Roan.
brand?
It's RHONE. It's like Rome, only with an R and an N. But I'll send it to you on Facebook later. I'm telling you, dude, wow, like best $100 you'll ever spend in your life. But I have a lot of expensive habits and things of that nature, and just, I mean, motivation is one of those things that you have to just force yourself to do. And it doesn't matter how many videos you watch. It doesn't matter how much Adderall you take. It doesn't matter how many chicks you pick up at the bar. Whatever the hell gives you a dopamine release, it doesn't matter what that is. Like, you just have to keep forcing yourself to do the things that don't make you happy and don't give you a dopamine release right on the spot. Because, closing a deal makes me happy. So for me, I just keep trying to chain reaction off of that so I don't slow down. So it's just like the very long-winded answer is just one of those things you have to make yourself do, and you have to get off your ass and just do it. Because I was in a slump and I didn't want to do anything. But I've slowly but surely, and it's not something that happens overnight, but I've been doing it for the past week. I've just been making my calls, doing my thing. And we've been having so many appointments get booked left and right from our newest email list. And I'm just like, okay, I have no choice but to work. Like, I want to keep making money. I want to, surpass 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand a month. Because I want to be able to do whatever the fuck I feel like. Like, I want to be able to go somewhere expensive and just eat all the food I want and not give a shit about the price.
So you're a foodie then.
Oh,
you're
dude,
a foodie. You love to eat food.
That's why I have to go to the gym every day, which that's also a good motivation right there, because I pay $100 a month to go have boxing classes, and that shit ain't cheap. So I'm like, I should probably keep making money so I can keep going to boxing, and boxing motivates me because I've slimmed down some. I'm like, cool, we're gonna look good again.
So yeah, that's something I touched on in my last interview, as far as just the motivation and the, just doing things once you get started, just getting started, and then that'll actually help with your motivation. Because actually, there was a couple of people that commented on the video, and they were like, I really don't necessarily want to do lives, which I give a shout out. Her name was Jennifer, I think it was, and she actually started doing lives now because of that. Because she said, I really don't want to get on the camera or anything like that. And pretty much I and Andrew just told her, like, you just need to get started. Just go ahead and, get started. Just start doing it. And she actually started doing that, which is a good thing. But I mean, that's kind of the thing, what's talked about, as far as, once you get started, and then once you pretty much, like you just said, get that dopamine effect, once you start getting results and everything, it's actually going to, push you a little bit further, on along, and it's actually going to give you, the motivation in itself. And actually, I'm a big follower of follower, whatever you want to call it, of David Goggins. So he actually wrote the book "You Can't Hurt Me Now," and he's actually, an ex-SEAL and all that stuff. You guys need to check out that book. He's actually a motivational speaker now, where he actually just goes around and just motivates pretty much anybody and everybody, business owners and everything like that. But actually, he talks, about just doing things that you don't want to do. It's like, he, especially, being a SEAL, because I mean, especially just being, some of the limitations that they do, pretty much just physical limitations, where he pretty much just talked about how he could not swim. And just because he wanted to be a Navy SEAL so bad, he actually taught himself how to swim and almost drowned in the process. Because pretty much the first time he got in the water was at Navy SEAL training. I mean, that's pretty much the basics of Navy SEALs, like, they're land, air, and water. So, I mean, he pretty much just talked about his experience with that. And then he's obviously, he's a ultra runner now, where he pretty much just talks about his marathon, his first marathon ever, which he never prepared for, never did anything like that. And he ended up finishing. But the thing that happened was he actually ended up almost dying in the process, because he pushed himself to a point where, it pretty much just exhausted his body in such a way that his system really couldn't handle, all the stuff that he was exerting. I mean, this guy's pretty much, he's crazy. He's insane, which he pretty much got on, I guess, I guess it was an interview. Somebody was interviewing him, and he talked about, just as far as, the fact of he actually did that to himself, and he was actually getting almost like a joy, out of it. And, just saying, as far as motivation, because I know there's a lot of people that actually want to transition from, being an employee to an entrepreneur. I mean, the thing is, you guys just have to get started. I mean, just like Gary said, can you talk a little bit about the process when you were first making your cold calls? Because he doesn't do cold calls anymore, because he found other effective ways to reach out to business owners. But can you talk about just the fact that when you did your first cold call, and just some of the things that happened? Can you give some examples and everything like that?
People were not friendly. They get cold. The whole point of an assistant or an office manager or whatever is to, I mean, like, obviously they do whatever their job is, but their goal is to put a roadblock in anyone trying to sell shit. And being someone who was trying to sell shit, I was calling chiropractors, dentists, all over the place. Everyone who was getting reached out to was getting also reached out to by me. And I was like, hey, I have social media marketing. I can do social media marketing, blah, blah, blah. No one cared. No one gave a shit. And I got told no. I never got told to fuck off. I really wish I did. That was always one of my goals. I wanted to be told to fuck off. But it was just nonstop no's. Then I would get, like, out of the 300 calls I would do a day, I get maybe 2 or 3 maybes, and I'd be super excited off of those, and they would all no show. And I'd be like, oh, well, back to square one. Oh, no. And it's just a colossal waste of time. It's good for initial sales training, in my opinion. Like, if you want to get broken into sales real quick, like, cold calling will break you in. Like, it'll make and break you real quick. So it's one of those good learning experiences. But nowadays we just do a lot more with social media, like using LinkedIn messages, Instagram, Facebook. We don't really send messages out on Facebook anymore. We just do more of I do more Facebook Lives and posts and whatnot, and posting client testimonials and results and shit. So that way we have a lot more inbound leads coming in.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess even in the process itself, I mean, as far as just getting, just how do you get over that hump? I mean, because obviously you made 300 calls a day, and you said you maybe have gotten 1 or 2 maybes. I'm pretty sure if you, I guess, well, obviously you don't make cold calls anymore, but I know that the process of making those cold calls actually, I guess, enhanced your skill. So, I mean, was it just the fact that, because a lot of people, let me talk about it. So a lot of people actually talk about just making a ton of, calls each and every day, and then you automatically, it's just a, a numbers game, which sales, yes, it is a numbers game, but yet you still have to, have some type of expertise, some type of experience, some type of skills. So, you just can't constantly continue, day one, go out and make 300 cold calls, and then, day 560 still make cold calls and not, look at getting any type of training or, doing anything to implement how you're making those cold calls and strategies and all that stuff. So I guess what type of strategies did you have in place to enhance your skills in making cold calls and doing sales?
I stopped making cold calls. that was the biggest thing I did. Really, I just learned from my experiences. I read a lot of books on sales. I listened to a lot of audiobooks, watched a ton of sales videos. But it's just one of those things that's an acquired skill. Like some people are just naturally are good at sales off the bat. But for the most part, a lot of people are not good at sales, and you still make mistakes. You still have to learn from things. And it really just like you get to go into it with a very open-minded and I'm gonna get the shit beat out of me experience, but I'm gonna learn something from it. And really, it's just more. I would say like the biggest thing for that and just any of my successes in marketing or running an agency at least have just been with that imperfect action. A lot of people spend too much time in analysis paralysis trying to figure out the best way to go and do something, the best way to go do this, the best way to go do that. I absolutely despise when people send me messages saying, "Hey, what's the best way to go and reach out to the blah blah blah." I'm like, whatever you feel like. There are some ways I feel like are better for certain niches, but at the end of the day, like it's just one of those things you just have to go and do. You just have to take the imperfect action until you can make it better and better. It'll never be perfect, but you can always improve it.
All right, now let's actually let's kind of switch subjects a little bit here. As far as actually, like I was saying at the beginning of the interview, I saw him. I actually saw Gary with Alex Shalinsky. Actually, Alex was interviewing him, and then I actually saw him again. There's another young teenager. His name is Josh Gavin, who I actually interviewed him as well. And then I noticed, because I'm in one of Josh's groups, and then I noticed Gary was in there actually commenting, providing a lot of value and everything like that. So let me ask you this. So you guys are actually have a program which I want you to talk about as well, as far as just how you can use your profile as a funnel, because a lot of people are actually talking about funnel. Or, when most people think about funnels, they think about click funnels, they think about lead pages, they actually think about just a website. Can you discuss a little bit and how you can actually use your social media profile, which specifically Facebook, to actually you can, because I asked you actually one of the questions that I asked him was, do you have a website? And he actually told me his website was actually Facebook itself. So can you go into detail of, maybe talk about, can you really acquire leads from your profile, and how should you set up your profile in a particular way that will, attract leads and attract clients?
Really, you just have to. It's one of those things where you have no choice but to niche down. And a lot of people are like, I don't want to. Oh, my laptop's gonna die. I just realized that. A lot of people are like, I don't want to niche down. I don't want to. I don't want to just be stuck with one kind of client or whatever. And I like the challenge, the whole 9 yards. And honestly, those are stupid fucking excuses to me. Because if you really just hate the having one niche that much, you want diversity, go hire some team members who can go and work with those niches or white label your service. Like, do anything else, solve your fucking problem rather than just sitting there trying to once again be stuck in analysis paralysis. So really just going back to the profile funnel at least. It really comes down to just having a niche and being very knowledgeable. Like whether you just sit there and go and talk to someone who, so say you work with realtors, where you just sit there and go ask a realtor, hey, can you teach me some realtor lingo and what you guys would be interested in having for a marketing service? I'm not trying to pitch you or anything. I just want to learn. I'm going to do some niche research and things of that nature. And honestly, people will like you more for that because you're at least admitting like, hey, I don't have an ego. I don't feel like I know it all. And that's kind of what I did. When I first got my realtor client, I was asking what certain terms meant, and I was Googling a lot of stuff. And one of my sales coaches is actually he's not an active realtor right now, but he's a realtor. So he was able to give me a lot of tips and tricks and whatnot. Shout out to you, Ben. He'll probably see this later and call me and be like, you're the best. But he definitely helped me out through a lot. And yeah, I mean, it just comes down to providing value to your niche. So for me, I do a lot of Facebook Lives. They are my bread and butter. I was telling them in Josh's group yesterday, today, that yesterday I did Facebook Live, and I had like 7 inbound leads come in. And I've only done
Wow.
that's the most I've ever had in a day coming from Facebook. Like usually we get maybe, like 1 to 3 a day. Sometimes none, just because whatever, we can't make people reach out. But that was a lot. It was a lot of inbound leads, just back to back to back, booking calls, all that kind of stuff. So when you give value to your marketplace, like people appreciate that. I had a guy message me like late last night. I think it was like 12 a.m. or 12:52 a.m. or some shit. And he was like, hey man, I saw your Facebook Live in one of the groups. I love it. I love your energy. I love that you cuss. Let's talk more. And I was like, yo, cool beans. Book a call. So it's just one of those things where when you come from a place of value and not, because like when I pitch, it's a very blatant thing and I do it as a joke. But I never really sit there and I'm not like talking about my agency unless it makes sense to talk about it. It's more just about, hey, what can you do to improve your business right now and take immediate action? Because everyone, including myself, has an issue with taking immediate action on shit. Like that was one of the biggest reasons why I was in my slump. And I literally have a video right now from one of the coaching programs I'm in. Shout out to Ravi Abuwala. I'm in his coaching program. He's got a video literally talking about imperfect action. And as soon as we get off this Facebook Live, I'm going to watch that shit. And I just need to rewatch it. It's just one of those things you have to do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, Rob. Actually, I met him in Atlanta. I don't know. J.R. Rivas. I actually went to his. I was in the one, actually not this year. I didn't go to the one this year. It was actually the one.
How the hell did I miss you? I was like, bro, there's no
it was
you there. I was like, I was about to be pissed.
I went to his actually the first one I went to. So I didn't make it to the one last year because actually I think when he had it, either I was coming back from Rwanda or either I was still in Rwanda. So yeah, but I mean that's pretty much that's just the whole thing of just business in general, just constantly, continuously keep making action. I mean just just facing the unknown, facing the fear of the unknown. Of course, you cannot wait till everything's perfect and everything is lined up. You get all your ducks in a row and everything like that, because sometimes you may not get your ducks in a row. So you actually just have to start making action. And then once you start to make action, once you start to pick up the phone, make cold calls, once you start sending out emails or sending out cold messages or hopping on you're getting your camera, just hopping on a live, or either just doing a video by yourself, a personal video in private. You'll actually find that you're learning in the process, and then you also you're learning skills. Pretty much just just learning how to progress and learning about business in itself. And then actually, I know you got to hop off here, but actually, I ask every one of my interviews. I ask them this question. So, if you were to have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Ooh, persuasion.
Wow. So why would you want persuasion?
Oh, dude, the ability is to finesse whatever it is you need. But well, actually, that's more of a little one. I'd say like be able to persuade ethically. I would want to be able to know the right way to basically like a sense of being psychic, but not fully. Just being able to know like what can help persuade someone, but not have it be like a guaranteed 100%. I'm always going to do it. Sometimes I want to fail. I enjoy some failure. So I don't know. Maybe I'm weird for that, but I like failing.
That's actually a good thing. Who was it? I was listening to something on YouTube the other day, and they were talking about how just because you fail doesn't mean you're a failure. You have to sometimes, in order, you have to fail to actually get to where you want to be, because on the other side of failure there's success. So I mean, if you look at even Gary within himself, I'm sure he can tell you that he failed. Obviously in the beginning he was saying he was making 300 calls a day, reaching out to people even pretty much every day. I mean, because he's sending emails that people probably don't respond to. Like he said, he's sending out a ton of emails, and a lot of people, they don't close, which some people will look at that, say, it's a failure. But the thing is, he's constantly progressing and moving forward. I mean, it may it may look like, he failed, but yet, he's not a failure within itself. And I mean, just the fact that he's continuously, constantly making steps and progressing is obviously, one step towards success. But Gary, how can people reach out to you? How can they get in touch with you? how can they get access to that program you and Josh have, the profile funnel?
Yeah. So best way to get in touch with me is reach out to me on Facebook. I do keep my notifications off for the most part. So I had to check my messages manually. That's another big thing. Turning off my notifications for Facebook is probably the best thing ever, because even though I do miss out on some things, like there was an event happening last night I totally fucking forgot about. It was like $50 to go, and I was like, shit, dude, like I would have spent the $50 if I had known about this and didn't go to boxing so late. But the timeline was just goofball, big goofball. But yeah, just reach out to me on Facebook. If you have any questions, then you can feel free to ask me. I'm not one of those people who really withholds information. If you ask me like a bunch of questions, I'm like, you can get your ass on a coaching call and pay me, or you can pay me and Josh for our course. But otherwise, I'll hop on the phone with someone if they need it. And because I mean, like I've been there where I had no money, I couldn't afford shit. Like even like, dude, Josh will tell you, like Josh put it in there a while ago. When he reached out to me originally, I had been getting spammed with other marketers trying to sell me courses. I basically I didn't tell him to fuck off, but I was definitely rude. And I was just like, dude, like, and then I came back later and I was like, hey, dude, I'm sorry about that. Like I see that your course provides value. I was like, you caught me wrong place, wrong time. Like I was just getting nuked into the ground with, hey, I have a course, hey, I have a course, hey, I have a course. And I was like, oh my God, shut up. But I mean, let's prove his profile test of his profile funnel, dude. Like I saw his results he was getting, but I still couldn't even afford him. Like, what was it, like $200 or whatever it was for his original program? I was like, $200, that's too much money, shit. And then, once I went and got over that, because I mean that $1,000 course I bought, I had that ClickFunnels checkout page pulled up on my desktop for a straight week. I came home, looked at it, left to go to my co-working space, came home, looked at it, pulled it up at the co-working space. Bro, like I was staring at that, sweating bullets. Then I finally was like, fuck it. I'm gonna get a credit card. Worst that happens is I knock my credit score down like a couple points for a little bit until I pay the bill. And then it'll go right back up. Because a lot of people are stupid and they think that like if you knock down your credit score some, then you're screwed for life. I'm like, all you have to do is literally just pay the bill and it'll update in a month. Calm down. It's not that deep.
And if you pay your bill every month, I mean, it'll obviously increase your credit, eventually.
Yeah, it'll obviously just increase your score incrementally anyway. A lot of people like really stress about that. I'm not one to stress about it, because for me at least, credit cards, in my opinion, are there for when you want to make a strategic investment. And for me, that $1,000 course was a very strategic investment. I was like, because that was do or die for me. I was at the point where I was like, if this fails, I have to get a real job. Like I was looking at Indeed.com. I was like, my resume is kind of meh, but I was eyeing that shit up, dude. My now ex-girlfriend, but at the time she was like, hey, I don't want to discourage you, but like you kind of might want to get a job. And I was like, hell no, I can't do that to myself again, dude. Like I quit for a reason. And then anyway, I'll talk forever, as you know.
That makes sense. But yeah, like he's saying, he will actually reach out to you. I mean, if you reach out to him, he will answer your question. He doesn't withhold any information, because like I said, I'm in a group with him and Josh, and he's always in there providing value, helping other agency owners, other business owners with their business. So he will give you tips and tricks of the trade, pretty much it's stuff that you need to actually progress and move forward. So I want to thank you, Gary. Apologize again for the, just the audio difficulties. Video.
While I was waiting for you, I was just playing PS4, man.
Of course, why not?
Best use of my free time outside of making calls. Like I said, once we got out this call, I'm gonna go start my dryer back up and finish my clothes drying, and then I'm gonna go straight to the office and just be in deep focus mode until I have boxing and I get my ass kicked there. I would say like another big thing real quick is working out, because health is wealth, all that kind of stuff, but it gets you motivated and it makes you go like, hey, because like the whole point of working out is to push yourself to a limit you didn't think possible, not just to like, okay, you get a six-pack, cool, you get in shape, cool, you have biceps that can grate cheese, awesome, but the whole point is that you were just trying to push yourself over and over. And that's one of the reasons why working out is one of the things I always try and keep consistent. And also I take freezing cold showers. I mean, like freezing cold. I'm talking tundra. I do it every single day. And those are the two things I just try and do consistently all the time, because even how you do one thing is how you do everything. And eventually your body is going to be like, okay, if I'm being consistent enough with taking a stupid cold shower and working out every day and, burning 1,000 calories at boxing and wanting to die, like I can damn well go and just do the things that are going to make me money, consistently. That's the point I'm at. But anyway, I appreciate you having me, Mike. Mike reached out to me like a month ago, and I totally forgot. And I was like, shit, okay, I'm back. I'm back and ready for action. That was when I was you reached out to me during my depressed period. So I was like, I don't feel worthy of getting on a Facebook Live. I was like, I need to regrow my business, and then I'll be ready to get back on one.
Oh, that's fine, man. You're always worthy to hop on, anytime with me or even anybody else. Because I mean, not to say, not that it's all about results, but I mean, just your attitude, your motivation, and just the experience and the knowledge that you have that you can give other agency owners, and not just even agency owners. I mean, you can expand that to just different business owners. Because I mean, you're pretty much just running a business, so it's not. Specifically, you need to talk to agency owners, but I mean, you can talk to business owners or anything. But I'm happy you joined me, and we will catch you guys out and reach out to Gary. I mean, not even, if you're if you're an agency owner, if you just have any questions, I'm sure he'll answer them just about just starting your own business or anything like that. Because you heard him say that, he was working at Best Buy, but now he's actually making 6 figures on his own. So, I mean, from Best Buy to 6 figures. So, I mean, there's a story within itself. I mean, wherever, situation you're in, whatever age you're at, and plus he can speak to you because he's young, he's pretty much, I guess, just out of, the loop. Because, I mean, when you think of a business owner, you think of somebody, who may actually be older, but now you guys are changing that, that expression and that everything. Actually, my wife just hopped on at the end. Says, goodness, I will catch the replay so late to the party, which yeah. So thank you guys for joining in, and we will see you guys on the next one. And reach out to Gary. Thank you again, Gary. Reach out to him on Facebook and check his course out. So thank you guys. Have a good one, and we will see you on the next one.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. Thank you.